Hello everybody, this is Havoc and welcome back to the Ancient Empires mod for Total War Attila. Today we are going to take a look at the economy system thus far, focusing on the Roman Republic. This system is designed to give you a much more historically accurate idea of how the economies of the time operated, taken from real figures in historical documents and a little bit of guesswork. It is also important to remind you, as always, that this state of the mod is a work in progress, especially in regards to trade and resources. In vanilla Total War Attila, your income and expenses may range in the thousands to tens of thousands. But in reality, and using the denarii as the basis of currency, the income and expenses of your empire would have ranged in the millions. The Ancient Empires mod reflects that well, and while it may seem a bit over the top and that you would never ever run out of money, everything within your empire has been scaled up as well. Your average unit will cost several hundred denarii, but with an upkeep of a few thousand. Buildings have a significant cost increase as well, with several buildings such as aqueducts and roads having an upkeep cost that increases as they level up. Income for most factions will rely heavily on taxation from farmland, and as your taxation level increases per level of fertility, it's obviously wise to invest your farms in regions of high fertility, allowing for certain provinces to become more focused agriculturally. You'll then need to make sure that these provinces are well defended, as you'll not only lose a large amount of food for your empire, but a very significant source of income as well. It's important to note the effect that seasons will have on your empire. As the seasons change, so does your fertility, which ultimately affects how much your empire is making. Summer and fall will see the most amount of food and therefore income produced, as it is the ideal growing season. But winter will see your income drastically reduced, making you think twice about what actions you want to take during those months in terms of external expansion. Your other primary source of income is from trade. The upscaling of income and expenses also extends to trade resources. No longer does a die maker produce 10 die, it produces vastly more, which increases the value of a trade agreement, and again creating a greater sense of realism in the mod. The value of a trade route can be seen in how many wagons or trade ships are along its route. Higher level harbors will allow for more trade ships, making those trade routes wealthier. Not only are resources used for trading, but some resources will be required for certain buildings and units. At this point, lead is needed for advanced sanitation, slaves for public games and farms, and eventually timber to create more advanced military vessels. The Ancient Empires team is in the process of creating a deeper strategy behind the resource mechanic, expanding how resources are both collected, distributed, and used throughout your empire. As previously mentioned, your biggest expenses will lie in your army upkeep. Feeding and maintaining your armies is not free. Once outside of your own territory, army upkeep increases as supply lines have to be maintained, and upkeep is massively increased should you decide to besiege a settlement. Considering that every settlement in the Ancient Empires mod is walled, and sieging simply just takes longer, you'll again need to consider how long that will need to take in combination with what season it is, as the mismatch could result in an extreme loss of income for your empire. The second biggest expense is building maintenance. About every single building outside of the resource gathering ones will have a maintenance fee attached to it. Some of the more state-funded buildings, such as roads, temples, harbors, granaries, and sanitation, will have a relatively huge increase in building maintenance that you'll have to consider, as historically these larger, more complex structures needed constant maintenance to keep them running at peak performance. And while farms and certain settlement buildings will all have upkeep costs attached to them, they are offset by the vast amount of income they produce. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for now on the economy mechanic system in the Ancient Empires mod. The factors in place advocate smart campaign management, as you will have to juggle what your empire does during certain parts of the year. Your empire building may be left to seasons where farming is high, which will help offset your building costs and your army upkeep. Military campaigns have to be more strategic, considering the amount of income you could potentially lose during a siege in winter when you're making the least amount of money. Overall, to me, it is a very in-depth system that will help bring realism to your grand campaign, and I'm looking forward to getting deeper into my campaign to really see it take hold. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Be sure to check out my Discord. And again, thank you to the Ancient Empires team for allowing me access to the build to be able to make this video. Be on the lookout for more Ancient Empires mechanics as they progress in the system. This is Havoc, and I'm out of here. Peace.